Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Monday, February the 20th. Another happy Monday, gentlemen. I'm Tony Haggerty at a Haggerty10 Twitter handle, as you can see. And I'm joined today by Sean Martin at Sean Martin TCW and Aidan Macdonald at Aidan C. Macdonald. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Not bad, Tony, aye. What is it you say usually? A happy Monday?
Happy
Very
Monday
much so.
indeed.
Aye.
Yes, Aidan, result dependent. It's always a happy Monday when the result's the one you want, isn't it?
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, no, I'm good. Tony, how are you?
Yes, very, very well. We'll get to talking about Celtic 4, Aberdeen 0. It's kept Celtic 9 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership in a minute. But very important that we do this again. Just direct you to the ticker tape running along the bottom. And for the reason is that this is coming up to your last chance, guys, to get involved in this. We're giving away a fabulous Gold Dust ticket prize. 2 tickets for Celtic v Rangers Cup final tickets. Cup final on Sunday at Hampden Park. Can't say any better than that. And all you have to do if you want to be in this is subscribe, and it'll cost you £1 for 3 months of unlimited access to everything that's written on the website. That's for new subscribers, and you'll get a forum. Fill in the forum, and you'll be in the draw for the tickets, which takes place on Thursday, February 23rd. But the deadline is Wednesday, 11:59. Wednesday, 22nd of February. And existing subscribers, you'll get the forum in your email inbox. Fill it in, send it back, and you'll all be in this draw. Someday, one lucky subscriber is going to win 2 tickets to Hampden on Sunday, Sean.
Yep.
Me and you will be there. We've got our accreditation. So if you are there, please say hello, and we'll thank you for your subscription. And hopefully we'll watch Celtic take the first step towards a domestic treble by winning the League Cup or retaining the League Cup, which they are currently in possession of. And we also say thank you to SENECA, who are now sponsoring the Celtic Way Morning Briefing, which is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group. And SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out a little bit more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. Now, gentlemen, Celtic 4, Aberdeen 0. As good things go, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Celtic were excellent, I thought, Tony, to be honest. And I know we'll go on to talk about individuals, but it was another really dominant and positive performance. That you almost run out of sort of good things to say about the team when you see things like that, because it's happened so often this season. But yeah, no, it was a pleasure to watch from start to finish.
Sean, I don't know about you, but I felt pretty relaxed after 2 minutes in that game. I've got to be honest.
Well,
Just gonna, it's and breathe. One of the ones.
A great result, aye. But I agree with you. That early goal just sets you up so well, doesn't it? I says to you, I've saying to you and Aidan before it that I've, as is my own, I end up looking up the kind of statistics behind it. That's 8 goals in the opening 10 minutes, Tony. A league games this season. 7 different scorers of those, though. So they're not coming from the one source. Kyogo's the only guy I've done it twice, which is maybe unsurprising because he gets so many opening goals. But funnily enough, right, and this goes back to this strength and depth thing that we keep talking about and what I was moaning about last season that's definitely there this season. But they've actually scored double that number in the last 10 minutes.
Right, okay.
Which I think is arguably even more impressive. So the fast starts are there, but the intense finishes are there as well. Those have come from 9 different scorers. And again, this speaks to the strength and depth. Leo Labada and Georgios Giacomakis, both usually subs, remember, are joint most in that with 3 apiece. And then Turnbull, another regular sub, has 2. So I think it speaks to that. The early goal, it does settle you down, and I think it obviously makes it, well, it should theoretically, it didn't necessarily do it with Aberdeen, but it should make an opposition come out a wee bit, because once you're 1-0 down, well, all bets are off. You've no longer got that point within your grasp. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. Aberdeen didn't really come out. They only had 1 shot in the first half, and it was right at the end, that Johnny Hayes pot shot. But most of the time, if you score an early goal, it means that they've got to open up a wee bit.
It backs up the manager's theory then that the subs are coming on and making impact, and there's no real let up in the intensity. Aidan, after the 60-65 minute mark, 8 early goals, 8 goals the first 10 minutes, 16 in the last 10 minutes. So that would seem to back that theory up. very much so, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, and the fact Abada scored as well, that's obviously a substitute coming off the bench and contributing. We also discussed last week how had O'Reilly, etc., came off the bench, Hattati getting 2 goals, and all the substitutes really contributed a lot. But yet again, with Abada scoring at the weekend, it just does show the strength and depth, like Sean was saying. And it is positive that you're starting games strongly and finishing them strongly, because obviously Celtic pretty much cruised it at the weekend, but there could be games that are dragging on a wee bit 0-0 or maybe even getting beat at stages. So the fact you're able to score late on games and players are coming off the bench and contributing is really important.
Tony, not just Abada scoring, but you mentioned in your post-match piece it was Haksabanovic, another sub that set him up for it as well.
I did indeed, yeah, and I was quite pleased with Haksabanovic.
Same.
We cameo on Saturday. Well, it was a big cameo, really, wasn't it? That he played, because he was very much involved when he came on, and a bit like what we've been saying about Haksabanovic, that we want to see more of him because we genuinely think there's a player there, and so I was really chuffed at that, because he wanted to be involved, looked involved in the last goal. He won the ball back and then had the presence of mind to fizz it across just at the right pace for a shot. All Abada had to do was put the laces through it, get it on target, and it went in the net. And my old man who ran amateur teams, so he used to always say to me, see that ball across the face like that, or ball across the box, to a player who's waiting or an oncoming player, he says the hardest thing to defend. If it's straight onto their foot, then there's only one place it's going. All you do is make contact with it, and that's what Abada did. And I was really chuffed at that. It's just we speak about it a lot. Those behaviours, those idiosyncrasies and stuff, that they're clearly being told. Once you get in that position, look for somebody, put it across, and somebody should be there. And 9 out of 10 times, somebody is there. Kyogo's there, or Maida's there, or somebody's there. Yeah, Derek Crawford saying it is a nightmare for defenders. How do you defend that? You just can't. And especially when Celtic now have a plethora of options in that final third, you don't know who's going to be there, but somebody will be there, because somebody inevitably will be putting the cross in, and somebody will be there to try and finish it off. And it's the way they're told to play, Sean.
No, I agree. And there was a comment here, I don't think I favorited it, so apologies, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said that since that unacceptable game where Ange Postecoglou said it was unacceptable that there weren't people in the areas that he expects them to be, there's 4 or 5 in there for every chance, or there seems to be 4 or 5 in there for every chance anyway, which I'd agree with. I think they've been on a bit of a tear since that. And in terms of, I was talking about times of goals, clearly sometimes, I was talking about early goals and late goals, clearly sometimes they do both. For instance, that Dundee United 4-2 game sticks out to me, where they scored early and end up scoring twice late on to win it. But obviously, of course, they've done it against Aberdeen on Saturday. They scored in the opening 2 minutes, and then a goal again in the final 10 with Abada. So it's there.
There was one of those, Aidan, on Saturday, where the goalkeeper jabbed out a leg, and I think Jota and Maida are actually falling over themselves, or it might have been Jota and O, to actually put it in the net, but the goalie jabbed out the leg to clear it. And I think everybody was up celebrating the goal, because you just thought it was going to fall to one of those players. But, I love that. I love the fact that that's happening. And had Celtic gone in at the break 4 or 5 up against Aberdeen on Saturday, you would not have quibbled about that, would you?
No, you couldn't have complained, because Celtic were all over Aberdeen, and that sort of desire that you were just talking about there with Jota, etc., that is just throughout the whole team at the moment, Tony, and it's really good to see. That was probably the only thing, if you had any sort of complaint about the weekend, the fact there wasn't more goals, but I guess it was 4, so you don't want to get too greedy.
Now, individual, Sean, I had the fairly, not easy task, but decent task of giving the man-by-man ratings on Saturday. But when it's games like that, they speak for themselves, don't they? Now, I toyed with the idea of also giving Callum McGregor 9, because I thought he was absolutely excellent. Thought he bossed the midfield, but obviously I think most people's outstanding player on the day was Rio Hattati.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a masterclass, maybe you want to say. I mean, I do agree, right, that he will be in the running for Player of the Year. I think that's natural, but I think there is also some kind of recency bias when it comes to these things, where
yes,
declaring somebody the best in Scotland. There's a comment here that I've got written in my notes, but I think it was Michael Ross. Has anyone noticed the best player in Scotland changes every 2 weeks? I agree with that. There is that tendency to, when it comes to proclaiming somebody the best in Scotland, every couple of weeks it changes. A few weeks ago it was Kyogo, then it was Carter Vickers, now it's Hatate, it'll be Jota again next week. The reality for me is that there are about 5 Celtic players who can make a claim for that in any given week. But over the course of a season, you usually find maybe 2 or 3 move clear of the rest. But the best thing about this team at the moment is that that's not happening. There are legitimately 5 or 6 that have been both magical and consistent. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be one of the hardest Player of the Year awards ever if it continues like this, in my opinion, Tony.
I include Greg Taylor in that.
Well, he's one of the 5 or 6, but then he would be up there if he was playing poorly for me, wouldn't he?
Yes, indeed. But some of Greg Taylor's past again on Saturday was terrific. One ball in particular where he played in Maida, I thought was absolutely excellent. And Cameron Carter-Vickers, just, you know what, he does exactly what he says in the tin. He's just rugged and he defends and he's unflappable. Aidan, I guess Hatate was the star man for you, but anyone else leap out at you?
The other one I was going to highlight was McGregor as well,
Yeah.
Tony. I know you've already mentioned him, but I just thought he did control the game really well. But yeah, Hatate, he was the standout man. Obviously, both goals he was involved in, both goals he scored, were phenomenal, but just his overall play, his touch, his passing, his vision was excellent. And I'll be honest, I spent a good chunk of yesterday just watching Rio Hatate compilations, not just from the game, but just from across the season. And some of the moments he's had this season, even ones that maybe didn't lead to goals, just individual bits of skill, and that it's been exceptional. He really is on a different level. And we know obviously when he came in last season, started off really well, then he burned out a wee bit, which was understandable given the games. But I think the fact that he wasn't away with Japan over the summer before the start of this season, got a bit of a rest near the end of the season, then went in pre-season, etc. He's just kicked on ever since then, and he's been excellent.
Uncle Nobby Steamboat coming in here, Sean. Hatate was amazing, but honestly, how good is Callum McGregor? It goes unseen at times because we've just come to expect it. And I think that's true. And I have to say, his opening goal on Saturday was terrific. He kept it down, he hammered it, and it was just too hot for the goalkeeper to handle. There's lots of people maybe saying the goalkeeper could have done possibly better with it, but he fizzed it in and he made sure he got it in target. And difficult skill that, especially with the ball dropping like that, definitely. And you're hitting it first time, and have to just set the tone, didn't it?
It did. He likes a short backlift strike.
Yeah,
he doesn't lift his leg all that far back. But that was I tweeted this out after he scored. That was his 5th against Aberdeen, which is the joint most he scored against anybody in domestic football. Well, full stop really. But what I found interesting was he's also got 10 assists against Aberdeen, which was quite a lot. I don't know what I expected it to be, but it was more than what I expected it to be. And I know that's including when he was playing further forward as well, and maybe on a wing and stuff sometimes. But I'm going to throw this up. I know self-praise is no praise, but Curtis has praised me, so I'm going to put it up anyway.
Go on, then.
He says, fair play to Sean. Fair play for Sean's call on Hatate from the very start. The Maida top goal scorers to be decided. I think I can concede defeat with the Maida top goal scorer thing. But Curtis is obviously talking about when was it? Early September 2021, Tony. And I done a kind of this guy might fit the bill for Celtic piece for the website, and then lo and behold, they went and signed him in December. That is, I'm quite proud of that, Tony. Even though I had no insider knowledge or nothing, but the fact that they end up going to sign him and it's worked out is I'll give myself a pat on the back for that. But
we'll pat me for that, Aidan. Yeah,
good shout. To be fair, good shout.
Curtis comes back in, I gave him another one saying, Tony, that he thinks the overall team performance is going unnoticed because of Hatate's individual performance.
Well, I mean, I kind of wrote my opinion piece on it, didn't I? Yesterday, and it was about the overall team performance, and individuals were mentioned, but I did mention the fact that this was a team that seemed in control of their own destiny, and also the manager saying they can get better. So, people kind of purring over Saturday's performance, and the manager saying, "Yep, good, all good," but they can still take it to another level, and that's what I love to hear. Someone asked him about Hatate's level of performance being so high, and he just said, "Yep, he'll get better because he wants to get better. We want him to get better." And you're just like, and it's just deadpan as that, and you're thinking, brilliant, because that's what's in the manager's mind.
The one thing he always mentions when he's asked about Hatate is the fact is his kind of dedication.
Yeah.
To becoming better, because you've got to remember he is 25, but he's only been playing senior football after coming through the university system and stuff for about 3.5 seasons, 4 seasons. So he is still fairly early on in his football maturity, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
But every time he mentions him, or every time he's asked about how far can he go, or that kind of thing, like how high is his ceiling, anything like that, he always mentions that his determination to be the best he can be shines through in training every week. And we know how much onus Ange Postecoglou puts on training and the attitude that a player shows in that. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the one kind of, not criticism, but the one critique that even Ange Postecoglou had of Hatate at the tail end of last season was maybe that his intensity levels tailed away after maybe the 60th minute or so in the second half of games. And he seems to have addressed that tenfold this season. Because if he's getting withdrawn, it's not necessarily because he's looking gassed. It's to give other players the chance to come on and make an impact. And he had that outstanding run of starts domestically. So I think he's answered that critique. What's the next one? I don't know.
He can get better. He wants to get better. We want him to get better. A bit like how we feel about you, Aidan, isn't it? You know what I mean? So myself and Sean, but yeah, indeed. Now, Aidan, I think you were saying at the start, you're running out of superlatives to talk about individuals and also the team performance. But, you know, you could not go into a cup final in any better shape. There's no guarantee that they're going to win the cup final. But in terms of, you know, dress rehearsals, preparation, and getting everybody more or less fit, I mean, Celtic are heading to Hampden in good fettle, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Celtic they're in a good place right now. Obviously, it is a one-off game. I know we'll come on to discuss it in detail, I'm sure, over the course of this week. But yeah, the team is in a good place. Some of the football they're playing has been consistently excellent. And it's a good point you mentioned about players being fit and being available, Tony. Pretty much everybody you would want available right now is. Obviously, Celtic, I think we could agree, they recruited pretty well in January so far, based off what we've seen. Getting even players like Ralston, etc., back, even if it's going to be on the bench, will help. I know there is still the odd player out, Seagrest and Welsh, but over the course of the whole squad, it's a perfect time of the season in general as we're getting near the business end of it to have a fully fit squad. And it's maybe not something Andrew's really had that often since he's came in. Whether it be when he first joined, that there obviously wasn't a lot of players available just in general because of the previous situation and injuries in that last season. Obviously, been thinking about Kyogo going into the League Cup final against Hibs, it was, you know, was he going to play, was he not going to play? So the fact that Kyogo was available for this time, there's plenty of depth, should hopefully stand the team in good stead for the game at the weekend.
Good luck picking our cup final 11, but we're going to have to do it at some point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see. I actually think there might be a lot of agreement between the three of us on the team come Friday, but we'll see.
I think there will be.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to put one last comment out about Hatate. JP says, from a selfish point of view, I hope Hatate doesn't keep improving because then Celtic get to keep him. Screw the balance sheet. That's one way to look at it.
It's one way of looking at it. Live in the moment. Just enjoy him. I think you just enjoy what's happening now. Players like Hatate and the manager and stuff, you just enjoy it because, yeah, that's a discussion for another day.
In terms of other individuals, guys, you've both mentioned people that I've got marked down in my notes, which was Callum McGregor and Greg Taylor. I think both, I'll not expand because we've talked about them a wee bit, but both are just so pivotal to the way that the system runs in these games, I think. And I think you see that more and more. As games get, I said this tail end of last season. I know we're not quite at the tail end; it's not quite the running yet, but it will become more prevalent as the running kind of starts or kicks up a notch. I said that last season that at that time of the season, to make the routine look and stay routine is actually a skill in itself and goes underappreciated sometimes. And I think players like McGregor and Taylor are massive in that. The other player I've got marked down here was Alistair Johnston. I thought he had a good game again. I think he's getting better and more confident with each game. And let's be honest, he didn't exactly lack for confidence on arrival. So I'm really interested to see how he does in the final on Sunday.
Yes, that's the big test, isn't it? The final on Sunday.
I give away that he's going to be in my team, clearly, but I don't think it's much of a giveaway because he's played quite a lot lately.
Aidan, you agree with that? I thought Alistair Johnston was very good. I just think for a player to come in, he's hit the ground running. He's settled in really, really well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really good since he came in, Johnson. I mean, the fact he was sort of thrown in at Ibrox his first game probably shows that the sort of confidence that the manager does have in him. I know Juranovic was just back from the World Cup, etc., but it does show that he obviously rates him quite high. And he's been pretty good, Johnson, both defensive-wise and from an attacking perspective. But I completely agree with both of you that this is going to be the test on Sunday. If he goes in and puts in another really good performance he had the last few games, then I think he will very much have cemented himself on the team at that stage.
We'll get to Sunday in the fullness of time in the days to come, but it's it's the excitement's already brewing, isn't it, Sean, and building?
It is. I mean, we've got on the site today isn't a derby piece. It's Aidan's feature with Celtic's first LGBTQ plus supporters club, Proud Huddle CSC. He's spoke to them, see what they're about, all that kind of stuff. So that's on just now. I'll put a link into it. But basically, from tomorrow onwards, it's going to be derby, cup final, isn't it?
Yes, we're trying to do all that kind of stuff yet, and I think the managers are doing their thing tomorrow. Is that right?
You're intending to go along to it, aren't you?
I'll be sitting in front of the manager. I'll be up all night trying not to waste his time with trifles and get the mate treatment. But yes, I'll think of something decent to ask them. The manager, yes, indeed. I won't waste his time. But yeah, I always look forward.
You won't be asking him about the other press conferences then, or the pundits' comments. No.
I'll as I say, I'll be up all night doing my homework to think, okay, what can I ask the man? What's a suitable question to ask him? Because I don't want to waste the moment, Sean. You know, you get maybe one or two questions only. So, but I'm just.
You'll be on here before it, so they could always throw in their questions.
I'll throw it open to the troops, and they can throw in some questions if they want me to ask on their behalf, and we'll see what they say to that. But that's always an education sitting in front of them, actually, to be fair. So I'm looking forward to that, and especially looking forward to it because of their opponents in the final, and it is Rangers, and it's first time we played them in a showpiece final. I know they lost in the semi-final. Listen, but my thoughts as well about Sunday are, Aidan, Celtic are due to turn up at Hampden at some point. They weren't great in the League Cup final against Hibs, but they won. They weren't great in the League Cup semi-final against St Johnstone, but they won. Obviously, lost the Scottish Cup semi-final to Rangers last season. So I'm working on law of averages stuff. Celtic turn up, you know what I mean, and play their brand of football at the National Stadium. I think it's time they did. Sunday's a good chance or Sunday will be a good stage to do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the record even before Ange came in was phenomenal at Hampden, but I will agree with you, even though we won the League Cup last year, obviously the semi-final and the final last year, and then the game recently, the performances maybe haven't been up to sort of Ange's usual high standards, even though in a lot of these games it is kind of just about the results. Cup games are a wee bit like that, but yeah, you want to make sure that it's a dominant performance just as much as they hopefully win the game, and if that's a game they sort of turn up in for the Hampden aspect, then they couldn't pick a better match to do that, to be honest.
Agree with that, Sean? Just turn up.
Well, I mean, opposition or regardless of opposition, I do still feel, just to my very core, that if this Celtic team turn up, nobody in Scotland is better than them. So basically that goes for every game. But it would be nice if it was if they were to turn up properly in a cup final as well, because obviously then you get the performance and you get the trophy at the end of it. Naturally, all that matters is the trophy at the end of it, really, this one. But it would be nice to get both, because it would also, I think, don't get me wrong, if they were to lose, I'll argue the opposite, that it won't rattle anybody. But I think if they were to put in a performance, lift the trophy, and breeze past Rangers the way that they've done a couple of times in the past year, then I think it would potentially rattle them for the run-in.
Derek Crawford's clearly learning. Would love it to be Sunday, Tory, and in your words would give them a clack na cuddin. Yes, an Inverness clack na cuddin equals scudding for those who are regulars on the broadcast. Indeed, that would be nice, but I agree with Sean. You just want to win it, don't you? Take the first step towards a possible or a potential domestic treble, Aidan, because that would give you the confidence to go on and hopefully achieve that goal.
Yeah, I think it would be a big psychological boost as well if that was the sort of first defeat you were inflicting on Michael Beale since he's taken over at Rangers. I know it's obviously all about from a Celtic point of view, and that won't be the sort of thing that Andrew the players are considering, but if you're doing that, I think that could also probably help bust maybe that bubble as well, which will be important between now and the end of the season. And because obviously even after the game at the weekend, there'll still be at least 2 more derbies in the league, potentially maybe a Scottish Cup game as well. So I think that'd be a sort of good time of the campaign to get that psychological edge as well.
Now, Sean, as I say, we'll talk about the cup final in depth in the days to come. You wanted to touch upon the B team as well, didn't you? Because young Joey Dawson is still ripping it up, as you said off air. Celtic beat Gretna 3-1 yesterday, was it?
3-0. They beat Gretna, sit 4th in the table with a game in hand on the top 2, which are Rangers and Spartans. But more than anything else, I mean, you remember I mentioned Joey Dawson, about a month ago? In fact, I've got it here. Just kind of highlighting how good his form had been in the Lowland League. So when I wrote about him a month ago, he was sitting on 5 goals in 8 games, Tony, right? And 15 goals and 3 assists in 17 games in total, by my account, right? Since then, he scored another 3 goals and got another 2 assists in 3 games. So overall, that's 18 goals and 5 assists in 20 games. Now, obviously, the signing of O makes it even less likely that he does get a shout in the first team, especially since he's obviously ready a lot quicker than I expected, given he hadn't played competitively since the end of October. I thought maybe there was going to be an overlap where O wasn't quite ready and Giakoumakis had left, where there would maybe be a void that Dawson could come in. O's already proven that he can come on and make a contribution. So it looks even less likely that he's going to get a shout in the first team. But there's not really much more that you can do at that level, I would say. So I think that they've got to look at a loan move next. You would proffer, and that could probably go for a couple of them. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, well, those stats are pretty impressive, aren't they? And if those stats can't get you a place on the bench, and it's through no fault of Joey Dawson, he's doing everything that he can, then I think the next best and logical step is to go on loan and do what Liam Scales has done, go to a North Scottish Premiership club and get used to the terrain. It would make perfect sense. And you feel for someone like Joey Dawson, don't you? Because what else can he do? Aidan, what else can Joey Dawson do to stake a claim?
Yeah, it is difficult because he's obviously scoring a lot of goals, but you just can't really see any way he's going to be breaking into that first team anytime soon. I know we've mentioned it a lot at this stage, but I think he's only first team appearances for that match against St Johnstone, with the big caveat being at the time the squad was kind of ravaged with injuries and COVID. Otherwise, I don't think he would have probably even been on the bench. But outside of maybe the odd cameo potential at the end of the season, if Celtic keep going the way they are in the league and maybe it's wrapped up with a few games to go potentially, that could maybe be an option to get some minutes. I've also seen that in the past, such as like when Karen Dembele played against Hearts back a few seasons ago in the last game of the season. But outside of that, I think it's going to be quite difficult. So a loan move would probably be quite good for next season, I would say, just to get maybe more regular first team minutes under his belt. And whether or not he would go to a League 2 club, a League 1 club, maybe even a Championship, I don't know. I don't know if he would go to another team in top flight, whether or not the sort of jump from the Lowland League would maybe be too much for that. But then again, if he's wanting to break into the first team, that's going to be an even bigger jump. So maybe if he was at a team in the same league, that would be good. But yeah, I think Dawson and a few other players would benefit from a loan move at some point.
Scott McGill agreeing with you, Sean, that the lad needs a loan, or we have a chance of losing, or Celtic have the chance of losing him. Now, on that kind of caveat, O played on Saturday from the start. What was your thoughts on him, Sean?
I thought he did okay. I thought he held the line well. I think it was quite difficult for him because Aberdeen, even after going behind, didn't really change what they were doing much, and most of the game took place between the halfway line and their 18-yard line. So there wasn't a lot of space for him to move about. I thought, despite that, he kind of held the line well enough, similar to the way that Kyogo would hold it in terms of his average position, even though obviously not quite the same type of player as Kyogo. Put himself about, made runs, tried to get himself into central areas when the ball came across. I thought he'd done all right. I don't think he's going to start on Sunday, but I think he did okay, given it was his first full start.
You go along with that?
Yeah, I thought he was fine. his movement was okay. It was difficult given the way Aberdeen were playing, like Sean said, even though Celtic did get the early goal. But I would be quite surprised if he was to start at the weekend, given that Kyogo was available, to be honest.
So not to give away too much of our predicted 11s, but I think we're all in agreement that Kyogo's going to start this game, aren't we?
I think so.
Oh, I think so. And by the way, speaking of, again, not to pat my own back, but when he went off with that shoulder injury the very next time we were on here, I did say that looking at the last time that had happened, he was in the squad for the very next game but didn't start. Came on for a brief time at the end and then started the very next game after that. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. He's made the squad for that game at the weekend. He's come on with 15 minutes left because he was very angry that he wasn't getting on, apparently. And then I think he'll start on Sunday. I just think it's exactly the same thing that's going to happen.
The minute Ange said he's a quick healer, I knew exactly what his plan was for him. I didn't think he would play him on Saturday, to be honest, but I knew he'd be on the bench. I said put him on the bench, didn't I? But then, Sean, you and I sat in front of him after the League Cup final last season when he said try keeping Kyogo off the pitch. He was going to sneak on at one point, So he's like, good luck with that. Was his answer to that question, wasn't it, about Kyogo? Yeah. So I guess it was another one of them. Good luck with telling him, I'll just rest you for this one. No, as you say, he got angry. He wanted on. So
speaking of getting angry, by the way, Tony. Speaking of getting angry, I mentioned this last season as well, and I still think that they've been told not to do it, not to give the officials an excuse for anything. But it still does. I don't know if it's just me being me, but it does annoy me that the likes of the Jack McKenzie incident with Kyogo, where he accidentally stood back up and he accidentally clipped his heel, and Jack McKenzie's grabbed Kyogo.
Reaction.
Nobody else anywhere near it. Haksabanovic eventually went over. And I don't know, and I know it's kind of old school, I suppose, thinking that I don't like the fact that nobody's going over there.
Do you know what? I put it down to the fact that maybe not a lot of Celtic players saw it. They might have.
But it's not the first time it's happened.
It's maybe not the first time it's happened. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but again, I also think as well. See, if they get involved and it becomes a melee, then you might give the referee.
Well, that's what I mean. I think, and I've said this before.
In terms of sending off because I think Ange
Postecoglou's potentially says to them, "That's not what we're about. Don't get involved in that kind of stuff." I still think there's a difference between getting involved in that kind of stuff and simply giving your teammate a show of support when they're getting unfairly.
I'm not
lambasted, but
I don't want any of the players to be manhandled without some kind of recourse of the players, squaring up to that. But there's ways and means of doing it, and I also think as well it was late in the game, wasn't it?
I don't think it matters when it is, to be honest.
I'm just sort of saying that it wasn't a controversial flashpoint, so a lot of players might have their back turned to the play.
Maybe.
Kind of like it's one of them, But I agree, there should have been someone helping Kyogo out there, Aidan, because we would wade in for you. If your big mouth got you in trouble or you did something stupid, Aidan, you know what I mean?
I appreciate that, Tony. Cheers.
There's only one of this trio who's liable to say something stupid and get us into bother. And you're looking at him, aren't you? You know what
I mean? Aidan, David Ferguson says Kyogo can handle himself. That's what referee's meant to be there for. Again, referee's meant to be there for a lot of things. I still think it's your teammate, it's your star striker, for Haksabanovic to be the only one to go anywhere near it, despite the fact it was clearly like Kyogo's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just think I like to see it, even if there's, you're right, Tony, if there's ways and means to go about it, and even if I do say, Aidan, that I do think they've probably been told not to get involved and give referees an excuse. K Matsu's coming in, Aidan, saying Kyogo is a master at passive aggressive wind-ups. Don't buy his angelic smile. He probably did something to wind up the opposition. Well, he clipped his heel, but it genuinely looked as if he was just standing up. But I will admit, Aidan, that there's been a couple of things where Kyogo, just by being a wee nuisance in things, has wound up opposition players in it. And to me, it has been deliberate, but I don't see a problem with that. And I think he has got a wee bit of a mean streak to him despite the smile.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a wee bit of that in you, to be honest. Maybe nasty in terms of like Celtic isn't the right word, but I think you do need to be strong in that occasion, because I think it is important that you are in there sticking up for your teammates, etc. And definitely in terms of Kyogo, he has maybe got that wee bit of an edge to him, and that makes me like him even more, if I'm honest. We know
bit
he
of
can do all the
devilment, Aidan.
football and stuff, but sorry, Tony, what is it?
A bit of devilment, not nasty.
Yeah,
bit of
maybe.
devilment.
I don't know exactly how you would describe it, because it's not like he's, you know, jumping like diving about the place or anything like that, or constantly trying to injure opposition players, nothing like that, obviously. But I think it is good that he will maybe have a wee nick here and there, and he will sort of stand up for himself. And yeah, you know, I think it's good that he balances that with also being a phenomenal footballer.
Couldn't agree more. Now, any other business, gentlemen, or are we just going to the slow build up to the crescendo, which is Friday?
I think that.
We'll be fever pitch alongside every others. But yes, I'll just direct you to the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Get involved in this. Come on, somebody's going to win 2 tickets to the League Cup final on Sunday. We're just going to spend all week previewing it, so you want to be there. Get involved. New subscribers, it costs you £1 for 3 months for unlimited access to everything that's written on the website. Fill in the forum, you'll be in the draw. 11:59 Wednesday, the 22nd of February. The draw ends. Existing subscribers, you'll get the email in your inbox. Fill it in, send it back. You'll be in the draw. Somebody's got to win these tickets. What a prize, Sean and Aidan.
Definitely. Aye. Get involved, guys. And as I say, if you're an existing subscriber and you're, as a couple of you have been either trouble finding the email or just haven't got the email, give me an email myself or a direct message on Twitter, and I'll try and sort you out.
Indeed. And we also say thank you to SENECA. Celtic Way Morning Briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group, and SENECA are a #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. Now, someone said the build-up has started. Got a few days of this to go, guys. Don't know if your nerves can take it, but hey, there you have it. We're going to have to do it. Wish it was Sunday, don't we? Right now, just get it on. But Celtic and fine fettle, still 9 points clear at the top. First leg of a potential treble on Sunday. You'll hear it all here on every day from 10 o'clock onwards. We'll be previewing it right up to Sunday. Guys, thanks for your contribution today. Sean, top class as always. Aidan, wonderful stuff. See you all again tomorrow. We'll do it all again.
Cheers, guys.